I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whoa, boy. What in the world, bro? For everybody out there that don't know me, my name is Big Low Country. I'm just old country boy, former football coach that loves to sit around and talk about sports, that loves to watch his Atlanta Falcons go out here and probably have one of the best defensive drafts in team history in the first freaking round. What in the world, Bo? That's what I'm talking about. That's how you go ahead and take things. You take the bull by the horns, Bo. You take the bull by the horns. Jaylen Walker, some people say the best, 1A, 1B, best defensive player in this draft. He do it. He do it all. He deserves it all. Then you turn around, you get James Pearce Jr. Highest pressure rate in not just the SEC, college football last year. Going into the season, some people say he was the best pass rusher in the first round. Now, how did we get here? That's the first question. How did we get here? And I apologize. I apologize if I didn't go through the proper pleasantries to start this off, because I have a roller coaster of emotions going through my mind. Right, I have a roller coaster of emotions. First of all, I was supposed to go to the draft party tonight. Didn't get a chance to go, but that's cool. Then we turn around and we get Jaylen Walker, and I'm like, hey, it's cool getting Jaylen Walker and everything. Like, look, guys, that's cool. That's fine and dandy. But I mean, we need to get out the pass rusher. I know he do it sometimes, but we need constant pressure. So then what you do is you say, hey, you know what? I got something for you. You trade your first round pick next year. Your second round pick this year to move back up to 26 and get a legit Look, it's one of those situations. You throw caution to the wind. Yes, we threw caution to. If the wind is over there, this is caution. We threw it over there. I completely understand that. But the fact of the matter is, guys, that just like somebody said here in the comments, at Atlanta Falcons said in the comments, now this is how you address your needs. So I've been having people text me all night. People saying, hey, Jaylen Walker, great pick. Some people saying, hey, we need to legitimately get out the quarterback. We need a edge rusher, or we could go corner. But they were like, Jaylen Walker, he's a great player. He's the best defensive player available. But then James Pearce comes, and they're like, oh, man, James Pearce, he's a good player. But then they're like, he's a little bit too light, this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, I'd rather you do something than don't do nothing at all. In the words of the great Mary J. Blige, all or nothing at all, all or nothing at all. But what in the world? First of all, if you're watching the show after we gone live already, make sure you put a what in the world on the chat. If you're excited just to see the Atlanta Falcons do something this offseason, make sure that you hit that like button. You hit that like button for me. I promise you I'll dance at your wedding one day. Bo, I got a plethora of emotions going on. But the beautiful thing is that I'm in here with the coaching staff. The coaching staff got me. I already know. So let's start from the beginning. Jalen Carter, tell me how you feel. Give me your grade. A, B, C, D, F, or I don't know. What's the other one? What's the other grade that a lot of y'all got? Incomplete. Y'all let me know. We gonna start. Matter of fact, put one. Excuse me. Since we got 2 first round picks, put one A, B, C, D, or F, or incomplete. so we can know who you're talking about. We're talking about Jaylen Walker, A, B, C, D, or F. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking. We're gonna kind of go down the line of everything that happened tonight. I hope y'all doing good tonight. I apologize, y'all. John Brooks in here. This is What in the World, Bo. Terry Cook tonight. We got Pearce and Walker. Terry F. Baby did his thing tonight. Yes, he did. Tyler Russell's in here. Padres in here says, Coach. Nick's in here says, we up now. We up now, baby. Look here. That, in the words of Thanos, everything. We're going to talk about that first round pick. Best believe it's not a situation where we don't leave this alone now. We're going to talk about this first round pick. Look at here. I know, what time is it? I know it's 11:58. I know a lot of y'all supposed to be going to work. I took out tomorrow. I planned ahead because I already knew I was going to be wired up. I planned ahead. And with that being said, look here. In celebration of the Atlanta Falcons trying to do something, I don't know if y'all can see that. We sipping. I ain't even finna say what's in my cup is in my cup. I ain't finna say that. Look at here. I'm drinking moonshine tonight. I ain't even finna, sit here and play no games and that like, what's in my cup is in my cup. It might be Kool-Aid. It might be moonshine. No, it's moonshine. Anybody who drink moonshine, make sure you pour from one glass to the other. Don't be having all that backwashing moonshine. Somebody else try to come and get some moonshine, and then you be having backwashing. I've been telling you what I'm doing. I'm drinking moonshine tonight, Bo, because the Atlanta Falcons are actually trying to do something. Pixel here says, hey, man, Terry low-key cooked. I ain't going to lie to you. Yes, he did. That deserves a good pinky up. Dr. Slick's in here. What in the world, Bo? Raymond Elder's in here. What in the world, man? Cantrell. Much love to you, Bo. Kid Rio, he says, we did it big, Bo. He says the Falcons are coming. That's right. Chris Tyler's in here. Danny Johnson's in here. What in the world, Bo? A1 Forever's in here. Says, Bo, what it do, man? You already know what it do. DJ Primetime's in here. Says, man, F them picks. Terry Cook. That's it. Sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. At the end of the day, sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Kid Real said, boy, I'm excited. A1 Forever said, look here, man. Book in day one starters. So Dan Jackson says, look, give me a B for this grade. Ray 50 says A++. DJ Primetime says A+ for Carter. Send it. Humble Brando, Nick, Tony Bradley. They all saying A+. They done got naked. Dr. Slick says B. Then DJ Primetime. Look here. You got to let it breathe. We're going to get to Pearce a little bit later on. but we got to let it breathe. Then John said, look here, man, I still want a migrate. And I completely understand that. Look here. Do want to let y'all know, tomorrow night, me and everybody's favorite uncle are going to be doing round 2 and 3. It might be a little bit more anticlimactic than it originally was supposed to be. But me and everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Steve, are going to be doing rounds 2 and 3 tomorrow night. Wallace says, what in the world, Bo? He says, I'm going A+ for the both of them. Dadgum, you done jumped the gun. Lamar's in here, A+, Justin, A+. Goodness gracious. Man, y'all just got naked. Y'all remember, it's a family show. Kids are watching. You just can't be getting naked like this. For everybody that's watching, getting naked, that's not nothing nasty. For everybody who might be new to the channel that might be watching, getting naked is, you give them a little bit too much credit than you need to be given. We also got a couple Superman chats in here. Padre with the first Superman chat of the night. Padre says, hey, coach, talk me down. He says, is a future first round designated pass rusher nasty work, or is it just me? Am I tripping? Shoot it to me straight. Hello, I hang up and listen. Da-da-da! That's a Superman chat. Also, Anthony White's in here. Anthony White says, he says, very happy right now. Falcons are finally serious. Da-da-da! That's a Superman chat. So look here, Padre. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to the first round pick. First, let's talk about what we got. So first, you got your young Thundercat and Jaylen Walker, Bulldog. When's the last time we drafted Bulldog in the first round? How many Georgia Bulldog players we done seen come out here and continuously leave Athens and drive right past Athens and end up going to Baltimore or end up going to Chicago, end up going to goodness gracious, they need to open their own Philly cheese spot in Philly. They go all over the country, going to all these different places. But how many first round guys have we seen come? All right, Rayford, don't be getting drunk now. You gotta be responsible. Don't be getting drunk. But how many first round guys have we seen drive right past Atlanta on I-20, hit 85, and go to the airport and fly to other places because it was one of those situations where the Atlanta Falcons didn't draft them in the first round, and then they go on to win Super Bowls, do this and that. Meek said that watermelon sound. You already know it. I'll tell you, yeah, I'm off tomorrow. I don't know about y'all, but y'all know every night after the draft, especially the first round, we get together, we show up and we show out. We had these emergency coaches meetings. So you got your young Thundercat and Jaylen Walker, who's coming in, showing up and showing out, doing some big things and legitimately led this Georgia defense last year. And I mean, Georgia defense does what a Georgia defense does. You know what I'm saying? Yosemite Blam said, you got that drink in his jar. Chris Lewis said, say it again, Bo. So you mess around and you get literally the leader of that squad last year. He was everywhere. He was calling out plays. He legitimately knows that Kirby Smart defense. And I'm finna tell you something. What's going on, Xavier Whitaker? That Kirby Smart defense is not something it's not a plug and play kind of thing. I've been to the practice. I watched him walk around. I watched him run around with the microphone, yelling at people on 2 separate football fields. I watched him getting people because they just don't know what they're doing because there's a certain nuance to a call, or if this happens, then you need to do this type of situation. I've seen it, guys. So you mess around and get Jaylen Walker, who is legitimately the leader of that defense. Some people say he might have been the best defensive player. I think they had him projected. Some people say he wasn't even projected to leave out the top 5. Then you mess around and get him, a guy who could do everything, which is perfect in this Jeff Ulbrich defense. Why is it perfect in this Jeff Ulbrich defense? And y'all might say I might be getting naked. I apologize if you do say that. What's going on? Meeks says A+. Daniel Berry Sports is in here. Kay Bailey says A. Y'all might say, hey, why is that the case? Because one of the best coaches positions on the defensive side of the ball is the linebacker, because especially that Mike linebacker legitimately coaches the defense as a player. He tells everybody where to go, tells everybody how to line up, tells the defensive linemen what gaps to get in, tells the safeties, hey, you need to be 15 yards back instead of 10 yards back. Hey, cornerbacks, make sure you shade to the inside because we're going to play the sidelines on this one. He's calling everything out. So if the simple fact that you have Jeff Ulbrich in here as the the defensive coordinator, you're in a situation where you're saying, hey, let's go ahead and bring Jaylen Walker in here, a guy who's like a Swiss Army knife, who's, we could say a more talented Isaiah Simmons, who came out of Clemson, who pretty much did everything. You put that in this defense, whenever you had a Nate Landman last year who just wasn't capable of getting the job done because they were trying to put him all over the place. For everybody who was complaining about Matthew Judon dropping back in coverage, you don't got to worry about that anymore. For everybody who's complaining about Nate Landman dropping back in coverage, saying he can't guard tight ends, or guard running backs out the backfield, you don't got to worry about that no more. And in the words of Mint Condition, you don't have to hurt no more. Baby, it's over. He's been what you waited for. Ooh, let Jaylen take over. You don't got to worry about that no more. Primetime Water Boys in here says, see, first of all, he said, he's so That's it, primetime. See, first of all, I know these songs. That's it. You got it. OG joint. Oh, man, Who That for Life came in here and said, so you finally did it. You drafted defense. Now, Chris, thank you so much for coming in here. Much love to you. I'm glad that you actually came in here. And the reason why I say that is because you made me think about the Saints. Think about it like this. The Atlanta Falcons drafted 2 defensive players in the first round. Look at what our divisional rivals did. Look at what our divisional rivals did. The Saints drafted an offensive lineman. Carolina Panthers drafted a wide receiver out of Arizona. One of the deep ball threat wide receivers. They Carolina Panthers feeling themselves after that game that last game of the season last year. They think they're gonna be able to put 40 on everybody every week, right? What did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do? They drafted a wide receiver. They drafted another offensive threat. Most of the time, whenever you see teams, whenever everybody else in the division is going one way and you go the other way, that's the team that's normally the team that's going to be running things for years to come. Right? I mean, offensively, we're set. We got the Swiss Army knife and Jaylen Walker. So, I mean, everybody was, as we've seen, a lot of people put A pluses in the chat. Some people put Bs. I didn't see any Cs when it came to the grade for Jaylen Walker. And yeah, Chris, and you should be proud that that y'all got another lineman. Linemen are needed. Linemen are a necessity. You have to have them. They're a legitimate expense. But the fact that we went ahead and doubled up. Now, I'm going to ask everybody now, how do you feel about James Pearce Jr.? Put a 2 in the chat so we can verify that we talk about James Pearce Jr. This just isn't for the people who are watching now. This is also for the people who are watching after the show. Put a 2 for James Pearce Jr. and put A, B, C, D, or F. Y'all let me know what y'all think. James Pearce Jr., what is he, 6'5", 245? He looks like he's bigger than that as far as, size to him. But the thing about him, coached up by the great Tim Banks. Shouts out to Tim Banks. That's my homeboy. And, I mean, I know some people put out the narrative saying that he was uncoachable. The thing is that the Atlanta Falcons do have a coach on the staff who actually coached with Tim Banks at Penn State. Remember, that's the same Tim Banks that coached Michael Parsons at Penn State. So you're legitimately getting a dog. So had the highest pass rush pressure rate in the NCAA last year. So you have Braylon Trice from the year before, and now you got James Pearce Jr. And like I said, man, he's just a legit worker. Just a legit worker. Wait a minute. Chris said he's not proud. No, man, you should be proud, bro. Look, linemen are a necessity. You have to make sure you take care of the trenches. You should be proud of that, man. He said, "Oh, after doing a year, I completely understand. I think that's why everybody's so excited about this draft for the Falcons, because we normally go in a whole another different direction than we think we should go in. A lot of people like, man, we should mess around, draft that tackle from Texas. That's what people will whisper amongst themselves. Dre, 2 statements in here says anybody complaining about anything, just don't know. But they about to find out. In the words of Padre, hello, I hang up and listen. That's it. You must don't know me. Got that dog in me, boy. But you about to find out. That's what we said to the NFC South. Look at here. Y'all don't know us. We got that dog in us. But you about to find out. What's going on, Trey, man? Hope you're doing good tonight, bro. Oh, man, Keith No Sweat says, hey, boy, Troy Anderson, he fighting for his job, man. Man, boy, look, it's going to be some hard times out there in that linebacker room, because them boys, bro, I'm finna tell you, it's one of them situations with them that there's going to be some competition. You got Caden Ellis, who legitimately looked like a Pro Bowl linebacker last year. Nate Landman, he left, but everybody talked about the whole upside of Troy Anderson. So Yeah, I mean it's legit. Look at here. Like I said, tonight I can't apologize. I can't apologize about being on this morning after the draft at 12 o'clock. Y'all know this is what we always do. Y'all, I hope y'all put your PTO in earlier this week or last week for Friday, because y'all know whenever the draft comes, we got to have this emergency coaches meeting. So let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room while we at it, right? Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room while we at it. And like I said, tonight is not a situation where, hey, it might be Kool-Aid, it might be moonshine. It's moonshine, guys. It's a celebration. Clap, clap. Look, in fact, everybody that's in here, if you can, make sure you clap it up for your homeboy Terry Fontenot. You know, he finally came to the barbecue and he didn't put raisins in the potato salad. Shouts out to Terry Fontenot. Look, I would have been on here earlier, but I had to wait and make sure that I watched the doggone press conference and give Terry Fontenot some love in the comments. Shouts out to Terry Fontenot. John Higgins here says, Big Low Country, man, we finally did something right, Big Low. Now in the second round, we're gonna need to get the defensive tackle from Florida, who's 460 pounds. So we don't got a second round pick. That's the thing. We don't got a second round pick. So let me see everybody's grades as far as James Pearce Jr. Danny Johnson says A++++. Robert Bennett says A+. Okay. James Williams says A. Dre True Statement says A++. Tyler Russell says 2A talent. Not sure about the first round pick being used. Okay. Kid Rio says B+. A Need says A. All right. Greg says A-. Shouts out to Greg with the custom kicks, man. Greg must have made some of them kicks with Terry Fontenot because he walked in the flowery branch feeling himself today. Xavier Whitaker says A and 29 pluses. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Dr. Slicks in here says 2. He says A. He says JPJ was my favorite edge of this draft. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, man. Primetime Waterboy says A, top 10 talent. Hello, you already know what time it is. Chris, who that says it took y'all 6 years to draft defense, but you did. Like we said, you about to find out. Strapped up. He says Quiet A batteries. Keith No Sweat. He says A. Raymond Collins in here says A. He says we needed a nasty boy. Hello. Like I said, we needed a dog. We need a dog with a wet nose. We didn't need no nose. We didn't need no dog with some old dry nose coming up in here coughing. You know, you see the old dog be coughing. You know that dog ain't worth nothing. Oh, Padre here says, my man, what's going on? Tabro says B+. He gonna pop off. Okay, see, you talking that talk. You talking that talk now. You talking that talk now. Dre True Statement said it's the moonshine. No, it ain't. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It ain't water or Kool-Aid. It's moonshine. We ain't faking funk. It's moonshine. Oh man. All right. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room needs to be addressed. Should the Atlanta Falcons, should they have traded their first round pick next year? If you feel like the Atlanta Falcons are good and should not have traded that first round pick next year, I'm sorry, if you feel like they're good and losing that first round pick next year was worth it, put a 3 in the chat, or a 3. You know, a lot of people don't know. You know, my wife, Coach Roney, you know, she's the leader of 3E Nation. It's a whole long story. Dre True Statement, Padre, and a whole bunch of other folks are deacons. They done kind of turned into a church. It's weird. But if you feel like, you know, F them picks, put a 3 in the chat. Now, if it's a situation where you're concerned about it and you're like, hey, I mean, first round pick next year, shoot, we might not even have a draft party. Put a 4 in the chat. I just want to know what y'all thinking. I mean, because the elephant's in the room. Because this kind of feels like it did with Kirk Cousins last year when they were like, oh man, y'all, we got a quarterback. We good. We in there. And we was all celebrating. And then it came across the thing, $180 million. $100 million guaranteed. Oh, okay. You know, we're still celebrating. We're like, man, you better win. He didn't win. So if you feel like it was worth it, put a 3 in the chat. If you feel like, hey, we shouldn't have done it, you know, we could have We could have kept that pick. There were still edge rushers that are on the board that we might have been able to get in the second round. Put a 4 in the chat. Because this is where it's at right here. This is the elephant in the room. Tyler Russell says, you were close. It was 20 plus. It was 28 pluses on that comment. Good guess. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Tyler Russell always keep me in line, Bo. Richie's in here. He says A+ for James Pearce Jr. So Millie Mills, he says 3. Brandon says 3 yeet. Atlanta Dog says 3 yeet. F those picks. James Williams says F that pick. Kashido says they still got a first. Ty Dollar says F them picks. Goodness gracious, y'all some old nasty talking jokers. My Atlanta Falcon says 3 yeet. Jake says if they both are really paying out and light it up, I don't care about next year's pick. Hello. Look, that's kind of where I'm at. Robert Bennett, Raymond Collins, Kid Rio says they all say 3 yeet. Brandon Little says, what in the world, Bo? Let's go Atlanta Falcons. Let's go Jaylen Walker. We got us a Georgia Bulldog. Hello, you already know. Who's that coming down the track? You already know what time it is. But MacTown, Richie, that I ain't seen no foes. What in the world, Bo? I ain't seen no everybody. Goodness gracious. Danny Johnson said it's gonna hurt next year, but 3 yeet. Falcon in here says 3. Tyler Russell, always the voice of reason. Always the voice of reason. Tyler, tell me. And see, this is what the coaches meetings are for, right? Because we all get naked, like we going to some adult party, and sometimes you gotta have somebody say, "Hey guys, wait a minute." You gotta have that voice of reason. You gotta have that guy to be like, "Hey guys, wait a minute now." So Tyler Russell, tell me what you're thinking. Dre True Statement says 3 yeet. Terry F them picks. Fine, I know. Oh man, Chronique's in here. It says 3 yeet. There you go. Dr. Slick says 3. Says I'm okay with trading to make next year's pick. Right now, if you're getting the player you want, then it's worth it. Padre says the mighty 3 yeet nation. Put some respect on our name before we lock the church like Marvin Sapp. Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. Ghost Pepper's in here. What in the world, Bo? He says 3 and an A+. Okay. So the issue that I have with this, in the words of Lisa Shepard's high school teacher, the issue that I have with this whole situation is that it's one of those cases where now whatever James Pearce Jr. does, we're going to be looking at it like, hey, we basically used the second and a first round pick for you. So you better show up and show out. You better not be coming in here playing no games. Like we need you to be worth the salt, Bo. Like you don't come out here and give us 4 sacks. Am I right or wrong? Like that. That's kind of where we're at. Chris White's in here with a 3 yeet. We also got Tyler Russell. So he says we need to fill holes this year, and we have no idea what we need next year. What if we're gone? What if we're bad? In that first round pick next year, and Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris are gone. And look, you legitimately got a point. But see, the thing is, Tyler, is that I kind of feel like that's what Terry was thinking. I feel like Terry was legitimately like, well, look, if I leave the dishes dirty for the next person after I got, kicked out the kitchen, it really doesn't matter anyway. I might as well see what I could do and shake things up and try to, take that next step now. And, if we're successful and, if we win like I want to win, that first round pick could essentially be a second round pick if it's in the late 20s or dare to say the 30s. Right. But I know that's a whole bunch of wishful thinking. And, And I don't know if Terry is that malicious, but I won't be completely honest with y'all. That's how I would think. I just say, look, if it was me, I would be thinking that like, well, shoot, I might as well, shoot, smoke them if you got them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shoot, we went hunting, and I took 10 bird shot with me. I only needed 3, so shoot, we finna do a little target practice or something. Smoke them if you got them. You might as well just let them go, right? Ain't no need to play no games with them. Big Shep, Keith No Sweat, send it. They all say 3. Shouts out to my homeboy, Jazzy Jeff, real talking in here. Jazzy says, look, man, if we handle our business, that first round pick is going to be like pick 25. F them picks. Daggum, Jazzy Jeff. Man, everybody in here getting naked. Everybody in here getting naked. Everybody in here getting naked. Good grief. James Williams says 3. Primetime says 3 heat. He says next year, edge class is weak. Now, one thing that you have to also keep in mind as well. Think about the edges that you have on your roster today. Arnold Ebiketie, he's coming to the end of his contract. D'Angelo Malone, who flashed at the end of the year last year, he's coming to the end of his contract. Leonard Floyd, if I'm not mistaken, he signed a 1-year deal, right? He's coming to the end of his contract. Those are 3 guys right there that you legitimately got to look and say, hey, I mean, is it one of those situations where, if we lose them, where do we go after that? We go into that draft class where, it's projected that the edges are going to be weak, or do we just go ahead and, shore things up with, a Braylon Trice who's coming back, who's essentially our 3rd round pick this year. Jazzy Jeff, real talk, he says, man, F them picks. He says, I get buck naked for a good pass rush. Win NFC South or die trying. Daggum, Jazzy Jeff, he must have got the moonshine. Da-da-da. That's a Superman tag. Goodness gracious, Jeff. You ain't got to do it like that. Shouts out to my homeboy, Jazzy Jeff, man. So for everybody who don't know, Jazzy Jeff, he's on Twitter. Great content on Twitter. Jazzy Jeff said back in January, he said, hey, this is my favorite guy. This is my favorite pass rusher in this draft. And, in the words of your homeboy from 5 Heartbeats, nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall. Because Jazzy Jeff was standing out in the rain crying because he couldn't believe it happened. I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't believe it happened either. Tay-Bro says, that first man is gonna be low. Look, I do need y'all to do a country boy favor. Make sure that you hit that like button, to help let everybody else know, other future coaches in the coaching staff, let them know that we're on here doing a live. And also make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. And share the channel with your friends and family. Let everybody know there's old country boy, former football coach, that's in here talking about some good football. And he's trying to keep y'all from not drinking too much moonshine. So y'all make sure that y'all do that. Chris White's in here said, hey, Bo, scared money don't make no money. Ricky Reese, Biggs World, they all say 3. Dang, Tyler. So, man, look, y'all ain't finna do my homeboy Tyler like this. Y'all ain't finna team up on my homeboy Tyler. He's the only one to put a 4 in the check. Tyler, I'm going to commiserate with you. I see where you're coming from. You don't know what's going to happen later, But I mean, at this point right here, it's like, I feel like Terry's he's kind of desperation mode, right? He's legitimately looking and saying, hey, how do I shape things up so I can keep my job? I mean, I'm not knocking him in that regard. Tyler says, Jazzy Jeff, he says, heck yeah, man. Glad to know that you're still around. Oh, Jazzy Jeff. Oh, yeah. Kid Rio says, we all in shock because the Atlanta Falcons did something right for once. Now, come on now. We can't say that the Atlanta Falcons don't do stuff right. We drafted Chris Lindstrom, right? All pro guard. We drafted Grady Jarrett in the 5th round 10 years ago. We drafted A.J. Terrell. So many other guys. We traded up and drafted Julio Jones. We drafted Matt Ryan. We traded for Michael Vick in the draft. You know, we signed Michael Turner in free agency. People didn't think he was going to be what he was. We traded for Tony Gonzalez, John Abraham. We traded for him. Like we've done a lot of good things, right? You know, we drafted Roddy White. A lot of people didn't think Roddy White was a first round talent. Like we drafted a lot of, and we've done a lot of good things. Falcoholics in here. Shouts out to my homeboys over there at Falcoholic. They says maybe we could pick up an additional third or fourth this draft for Kirko Chains as well. Look, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. That's the pocket chicken nugget. If you watch Adam Sandler movies, you would get it. That's the pocket chicken nugget. That's why I'm low key excited about tomorrow in the third round. What if Terry continues to throw caution to the wind and say, "Hey, Cleveland Browns," if they don't get Shedeur Sanders tomorrow? What if they say, "Hey, Cleveland Browns, y'all just got to pay $10 million, give us a third, we'll call it a day." But I mean, because I'm feeling froggy because you could go back as documented. I was on One Time for the Fan after the Falcons made their pick, and I was like, "Hey, if I was Terry," now I didn't say nothing about trading the first round pick, but I said, "Hey, if I was Terry, I ain't gonna lie. I would go ahead and trade back in the first and go ahead and get that pass rusher. I'd be doggone John Brown. They ain't do it. I'd be doggone John Brown. They ain't do it." Man, shouts out Jazzy Jeff, man. Everybody showing my boy some love in here. Dre says, Jazzy Jeff, my guy, what's been good, man? He says, yeah, F them picks. I'm starting to feel the trend here. I'm starting to feel the trend here. It's starting to feel like everybody's saying the same thing. F them picks. Y'all know I don't use that type of language. I don't lie. Anyway, I don't use that type of language. J. True David says, Terry gonna be like, "Hey, I did my job. I don't know what to tell you." That's it. Terry's legitimately sitting here like, "Hey, I gotta do what I can do to keep my job. Whoever comes later on, like, I mean, all I can tell is, good luck to him." Oh man! Shouts out to my homeboy ATLGA Faithful, man. Shouts out to my homeboy DC Douglas Carter in here, man. That's look at here. That's my people, Bo. DC, tell me how you feeling about these picks, Bo. We also got another Superman chat. He says, Coach, the content creator Bishop Roney make them picks. Mighty suspicious she ain't around, and the Falcons make these yellow picks. 3 da da da. That's a Superman chat. So look, all I can tell you is, I don't know if she made the picks or not. I just know that she was texting Terry Fontenot, and I was getting kind of jealous. I was like, hey, why you texting Terry? You need to be texting Terry. Terry's my friend. You don't need to be texting. I was starting to get jealous. I didn't know what was going on. What's up with all the Kirko names? Kirko Blame, Kirko Shane. Goodness gracious. Chrissy Lewis says, has there been a Tri sighting? Now, if I'm not mistaken, Coach Chrissy, I believe Tri showed up to voluntary workouts. If I'm not mistaken, no, you know what? That was Casey Washington. Because I was like, man, I thought Casey Washington, I remember he had gotten hurt at the end of the year last year. I thought it was like something serious, but I seen him working out at a voluntary workouts. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna check and see what's going on with old Braylon Trice. I'm checking in with my guys in Flowery Branch to see how he's looking. Tyler Russell says, there's never a year when I'm like, okay, I don't need a pick on Thursday night. We're all set. Jeez, we've been subpar for doggone 12 years, minus a few good runs. We always need the picks. Hey, look, I'm not mad at you. If you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're legit saying, hey, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, shoot, we could use that pick. They just won a Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs, they're sitting there like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they trade? Weren't they involved in the trade? Or they swapped, but you see they didn't move too far down. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, look, it's one of those situations where, even the dominant teams, they still need these picks because these teams are forever evolving. Chris White in here says $10 million look, I'm telling you, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'll be like, hey, bro, look, if you want Kirk Cousins right now, if you want to go ahead and make this trade, give me $10 million and a third round pick, and shoot, we good to go. We good to go. $10 million and a third round pick, and we good to go. Look, I also need y'all to make sure y'all do a country boy a favor. I think DC told me we were close to 100. Oh, okay. Okay, we got 100 likes. Shouts out to y'all, man. Shouts out to the coaching staff. I don't know if it's because y'all enjoying the content or it's because Terry making these crazy picks, but shouts out to y'all. Thank y'all so much for the 100 likes. I definitely appreciate it. But look, now, y'all keep hitting the like button. Everybody who hadn't hit it yet, y'all can keep hitting it. You watching later on, you keep hitting it. I would greatly and definitely appreciate it. Ain't no need to stop it. Ain't no need to stop it. Oh man. ATLGA Faithful says, hey man, it's that double down method. I hope it works. I mean, you think about it though, it worked before. Right? It worked before. If you think back in history, whenever we, I don't know if y'all remember, whenever Arthur Blank told Thomas Dimitrov, hey, if you want to keep your job, you're going to have to fix this offensive line. And we're still reaping the benefits. We're still reaping the benefits of this offensive line whenever Thomas Dimitrov traded back up into the first, and he got Chris Lindstrom, and everybody was like, if you were in the bins that night, it sounded bad. People were booing. It was crazy. And then you traded back into the first round and got Caleb McGarry, and I don't see any issues with it now. I don't see it. So, but the point that I'm making is that initially it worked. It legitimately worked. Ghost Pepperton says, Coach Lowe, a Falcoholic has a point. The Steelers passed on Sanders and Dart. So they waiting. I'm sorry. So who they waiting on? Madison Rudolph to turn into Ben 2.0. Hopefully Terry get the Steelers on the phone. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but that is true. That is true. Look at here. I don't care where he goes. In all honesty, I don't care where he goes. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is an Arthur Smith guy. Arthur Smith, he likes guys a little bit more mobile. If it would have been the case where if Kirk Cousins was a little bit more mobile, I feel like he would have been with the Steelers. But I don't feel like he's an Arthur Smith guy. So I imagine putting Kirk Cousins in that offense. That's tough to watch, bro. That's tough to watch. Let us pray says third round pick and a lemon pepper wings, and they can have Kirk. There you go. Look, that's what I'm saying. Give us something. In the words of Denzel, I'm gonna leave here with something. I'm from round the way. I'm gonna leave here with something. Let us pray says Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman too. Little Tevin Coleman. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, man. Yeah. Them boys gonna roll right through ranks. Shouts out to my homeboy. Let us pray, another content creator out here making great Atlanta Falcons content. Make sure y'all go over to his channel, check him out. Also, my homeboy ATLGA Faithful making great content over there, man. Look, every Atlanta Falcons content creator, I just wanna go out and say, shouts out to all the Atlanta Falcons content creators. Bo, y'all been working today, Bo. Y'all been working. And the crazy thing is that today's draft, a lot of people thought it was going to be kind of anticlimactic, or just whole draft in general, because it was one of those cases where, we didn't have that much draft capital and things like that. But I would venture to say we won the first day of the draft. So shouts out to all the Atlanta Falcons content creators that's out here making great content, man. Christy Lewis says, if we got to keep him, make Catfish Kirk play every preseason snap. Look, I mean, you can't say you ain't playing, right? You can't say you ain't gonna play. You can't say that you ain't finna play. Shouts out to everybody that's chilling out with us on YouTube, on Twitter. Shouts out to y'all, man. Definitely enjoy having y'all on. It's 12:35 Eastern time, Friday morning. and we're on here talking about Falcons football, bro. I freaking love it. I freaking love it. Shouts out to everybody that's on here. That's right, Bernard. I love it. We got 2 impact players. That's what I put on Twitter, Bernard. I was like, bro, the Atlanta Falcons literally just blew my mind because, whenever we got Jaylen Walker, I was like, man, I mean, it's hard to say no to a guy who could literally do everything, right? But then you turn around and get James Pearce Jr. That's tough. That's tough, Bo. That's gonna be look. Bryce Young gonna be old when it's all over. When it's all said and done with. No, he gonna be old when it's all said and done with. The only thing Baker Mayfield gonna be baking up is appointments at the chiropractor when it's all gonna be said and done. Ron Johnson says we did the thing today, Bo. A++++. Hello, you already know it. That's right, Chris. It's Falcons Friday. It's Falcons Friday. Atlanta Dog says Pearce was always the pick. So really, we gave up a first for Walker. Okay. Trucker Mike's in here says, rise up. We the ones. You already know it. Shouts out to my wise man, Berto. Oh, man. Yeah, Ron. We love these dirty birds, bro. Love these dirty birds. We also got Carrie in here. Carrie says, let's go. So I'm so happy. We're going to sleep so well tonight. We won night 1 of the draft. I definitely agree with you, Carrie. We won night 1. I mean, I don't see anybody who had a better night 1 than we did. Let us pray here says, did Arthur Blank finally take the Falcons filter off? There were some concerns about Pearce's attitude, but I like my football team a little angry. Yes. So, I mean, I don't know if he necessarily took the Falcons filter off. I know that was a rumor about James Pearce being quote unquote uncoachable. And as a matter of fact, me and Carrie we're in a little group chat together, and like I told Carrie, I was like, look, I mean, I know the kid. I apologize. I know the man, James Pearce Jr. He's a hardworking kid. I've been to a few of his practices, like 3 or 4 of his practices. He practices hard. Coach Gardner, former D-line coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. He's the D-line coach for the Tennessee Volunteers. He coached those guys hard, man. He's an old school coach. He was the coach of the Georgia Bulldogs in the early 2000s and the 90s. And bro, I mean, he's a hard-nosed old school coach. And he used to get after it when it came to James Pearce because he seen the talent that he had. But I never seen James Pearce Jr. Talk back to him. I never seen him, get physical or what I'm saying, low for have an attitude. I know that he has a fire about him. I know that, but it's just like Let Us Pray said. I know that James Pearce Jr. is one of those guys who, legitimately is trying to get after it. I do know that. So look, it's to our benefit. At the end of the day, it's to our benefit. Yuri's in here. He says we won the first night of the draft. Oh, yes. So let me ask the coaching staff what they think. Do y'all feel like the Atlanta Falcons won night 1 of the draft? If you feel like we did win night 1, put a 1 in the chat. If it's one of those situations you feel like somebody else might have won, put a 2 in the chat and let us know who it was that you felt like won it. If you feel like Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart going to the New York Giants won the draft, I mean, feel free to let me know. Let me know. Ooh, let me know. It's the moonshine. It's the moonshine. It's messing up the vocal cord. Let me know. Let me know. There it is. There it is. Oh man. Dirty Bird says, look, man, the Falcons told us the game plan and then they went out and did their thing. Hello. Yes, sir. They sure did. Rick Reese is in here and says, so the Falcons was taking so long on the clock because they were trying to decide on Walker or Pearce. I mean, that might have been the case. See, I thought they might have been working on the trade since they were on the clock for so long and they were like pushing it to the limit. But I mean, according to Terry Fontenot, he said that, Jalon Walker was there and, they wanted him. But he said as soon as they got off the phone, they started working on the trade up, which is what they did last year. It just didn't happen. Dirty Bird, Biggs Worlds, Fendi, Chris Tyler. I felt like we won the draft, and I kind of completely agree. Shouts out to my homeboy Payo. Thank y'all so much for that trade, my friend. Payo, Los Angeles Rams content creator. Y'all make sure y'all show my boy some love, man. Shouts out to you, my friend. Hope you're doing good, brother. Look at here. You hooked us up. Bo. We definitely appreciate that. Rick Reese, James Williams, Atlanta Dog. They feel like we won day one of the draft. Bernard says one. But I also like the Broncos. Broncos looking like they coming with it. ATLian says we back. No, you mean we bite. That's what you mean. We bite. There you go. King Richards in here says, Big Low, what's going on, King? Tay Bro says, this was exciting, not for all of it. There you go. T Baby says, I feel like instead of Pearce, we should address corner with Will Johnson. I feel like there might be a move in the making. I feel like it might have something to do with the Jalen Ramsey. So I don't know if it's one of those cases where, you can mess around and, get a sleeper, in that third round. So, look at here. We'll see what happens, man. Yuri's in here says the watch party at the Benz was electric, man. Now I wish I could have made it, Bo. Unfortunately, Coach Ron, she wasn't feeling too hot. So, I had to be the dutiful husband and stay here and take care of the wife. Ryan Johnson says one. We didn't tonight. We smashed, my guy. There you go. We smashed the draft tonight. Payo Time says, I think it was in both teams. Look, y'all definitely got y'all definitely came out in a positive situation with that trade. You can't beat that. King Rich says ESPN been giving us much love. They played 3 Falcons commercials back to back. Okay, look at here. That's when you're doing something right there. Heath in here says I am utterly shocked. Ghost Peppers agrees. Ghost Peppers, that's another voice of reason. VOR, voice of reason. He says, hey, we won the draft. We won night one of the draft. Yes, I definitely agree. But Keith Saint said, man, Baltimore taking starts. It's kind of scary. Hamilton, that is true. Whenever they took him, I told Coach Ron, I was like, man, that's a Baltimore Ravens pick. If I ever see one, I don't know how it's almost like they just sit back and just chill out and see what they can do until, they get another guy who everybody just doesn't value. And then he comes and plays great for the team for the next 10 years. They continue to do it. It's over and over and over again, right? I do need y'all to make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if this is your first time chilling out with us. We're celebrating a great night one of the draft, right? We're worrying about 2026 when 2026 gets here, but we're celebrating a great night one of the 2025 NFL draft. Man, how y'all feeling, Bo? Like I ain't gonna lie to you, it's still kind of surreal to me. We took 2 top 2 SEC defensive players. We didn't try to, go out there out west to, I don't know, UCLA or try to go get somebody from Texas A&M like Shamar Stewart. A guy who averages a sack and a half a year. For the last 3 years. Like we said, hey, let's go ahead and see what we can do about getting somebody who looks good on paper and on the field. Mike, I'm sorry, he says, hey, Bo, this is the best draft since Michael Vick was selected. Even better than 2008. Dang, that's a good draft right there, Bo. I ain't gonna knock it. That's a pretty good doggone draft. Ian's in here. What in the world, Bo? What's going on, Ian? Philip Bonner's in here. Says one. He says that he feels like we won the draft. I completely agree with you. 6 feet deep says, what in the world, Bo? 2 stud pass rushers. Like I said, man, Jalen Walker, he do a little bit of everything. Jalen Walker is, and he's already sending messages to the fan base. He's already saying, Hey, man, Bulldogs, Falcons fans, rise up, man. And you can't beat that. That's the type of energy. That's the type of energy we gonna want. Yuri says 12-5 season and divisional champ. Hold on, Yuri. Now pump your brakes now. Pump your brakes there now, Ghost Rider. Let's look. Let's try to get through training camp. Let's try to get to training camp, and let's try to get through the rest of this draft. Look, I'm feeling good about it. Whenever you look at, and have you noticed no one's mentioned anything about the offensive side of the ball this whole show. The show, we've been on here 56 minutes. No one said anything about the offensive side of the ball. But whenever you consider pairing the offensive side of the ball with the Michael Penix, who some people say generational arm, with the B. John Robinsons, still got Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. I mean, Casey Washington, who I feel like is kind of a sleeper. Ain't no telling you might mess around and get another wide receiver later on in this draft. The wide receiver I was talking about from Texas, from the SEC, that that where they said there may be some connections there. That you might mess around and get another guy somewhere later on in this draft. Pelicans in here says rise up to rise up. You just spell rise up wrong. Like what in the world, Pelicans? Look, just because we drafted two guys is going to whip up on that offensive lineman that you got. You ain't got to hate on us, Pelicans. Keep that hate out your heart. Keep that hate out your heart. That don't got nothing to do with us. Furballs in here with Superman chat says, so is Mike Green still available? Da, da, da. That's a Superman chat. So let me see. Let me take a look, because I know I was setting up for the show, and after we made that trade and Terry Fontenot and Coach Raheem Morris came in here, it was one of those cases where I kind of missed it. Yeah, but yes, Mike Green is still available. He's still on the board. Will Johnson, Mike Green, Nick Amarawari, and Donovan Ezeriku are rated as the best players available. So, yeah, I mean, that's, we got to figure out what we're going to do. Let's see here. Dirty Bird says, I know an Aints fan ain't in here talking crazy right now. Oh, man. Yuri says, I see that the Aints ignored their quarterback issue tonight. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I saw that, man. I saw that. I thought for sure they were going to go ahead and get Shador. I mean, look, he failed. That's going to be a great deal for somebody. The only issue is that now that he fell to the second round, it's one of those cases where he's not going to have that fifth-year option. So it's just going to be a 4-year situation, which means you're going to have to pay him quicker. So, that's if he, is as successful as you think it's going to be. So that's something that you got to consider as well. But I mean, they can legitimately go after him in the second round. So Chrissy Lewis, she says, hey guys, we need another offensive lineman. So look at here. I mean, shoot, while we're going SEC boys, that offensive lineman from Georgia is still out there. Some people say he's projecting as a 3rd or 4th round pick. The center from Georgia. That could be a good look. That might be something that we might need to consider. But I want to ask everybody in the coaching staff, y'all be a source of wisdom for me. Y'all let me know, who do you think we should take moving forward in this draft? Do you think we should go at cornerback? I heard some people mention cornerback a little bit earlier. I heard some people mention that we might need to look at a wide receiver. Coach Christie mentioned another offensive lineman. What direction do you feel like the Atlanta Falcons should go in? It doesn't have to be a particular player, but what direction do you think we should go? Do you think we should go cornerback? You think we need an offensive lineman? You think we need a defensive tackle? You feeling like Terry Fontenot in 2024? You feel like we need another quarterback? Like, y'all let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Y'all let me know. Dr. Slicks in here, he says the best part about getting Walker and JPJ is knowing that they're not going on another NFC South team and end up being good while we sit on our hands and watch. And that is true, because that's also happened in the past as well. So that is true. Chris Tyler says Amos or Benjamin Morrison, definitely a cornerback though. King Rich, he says a nasty defensive tackle. Okay. Fendi says you need a DB. Okay. Okay. I'm liking what I'm hearing. He says we need a defensive tackle. Atlanta Dog says Ty Robinson, nose tackle. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, shoot, you're getting all these guys who's going to be flying around, especially around the edges. Go ahead and get somebody to plug everything up. Ricky Reese says corner. Okay. Excuse me. 6 feet deep says nose tackle, 330 plus. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Ron says, how they let us slide into that pair like that, man. One hometown hero, UGA. Then on the other side, we have a freak of a human at 6'5", 230. I thought it was 240. Wow. We have 7 more good rounds to get a cornerback and a wide receiver. Look, I ain't mad at it, Bo. Shouts out to my homeboy Tidy, Atlanta Bird Gang in here, man. Hey, Bo, I was watching live with you and Uncle Steve. Look, that yearly tradition, bro, is timeless. Shouts out to my homeboy Tidy. Y'all make sure y'all check out Tidy at Atlanta Bird Gang. If you're not subscribed to Atlanta Bird Gang already, they also have a group on Facebook, Atlanta Bird Gang. Shouts out to my brother Tidy, man. That's my boy. Chris Tyler says, watch Ritter and Zacchaeus eat Alfred up all game and tell me they don't need a slot corner. Dang, gone. That's rough. That's rough. He said Desmond Jackson from the Gators. Okay. Christian Lewis says defensive tackle, offensive lineman, and a kicker. Well, remember, we signed a kicker from Germany now. We signed a kicker from Germany. I'm liking all of these suggestions, guys. Hopefully Terry's watching. Lex is in. He says O-line, corner, safety, defensive tackle, inside linebacker, in that order. Okay. Like I said, Tidy, he says he also agrees. He said defensive tackle or inside linebacker. That's the thing with Jaylen Walker. You legitimately have a guy who can play 3 different positions. He could play that. He could play that 3-4 inline linebacker for you. He could also play on the edge. I feel like he could actually be a more athletic Caden Ellis. The question is, how does he take on and shed those blocks with that size that he has? But, bro, I mean, having a Jaylen Walker legitimately puts you in a situation where you can do so many different things. The only question that I'm having is that will Raheem Morris put him in a good situation? Will Jeff Ulbrich put him in a good situation? Keith No Sweats in here says, hey, but we need a center, cornerback, and maybe another offensive lineman. Okay. Nando says cornerback Trey Amos, cornerback Porter, or zero tech defensive tackle next pick. Bo. I'm loving it, man. Yours says, I'm surprised that Will Johnson slid out of the first round. All the other Michigan guys went in the first. I saw that, man. I saw that. It's a bro. This draft is so deep, man. This draft is so deep. It's legitimately hard to, I knew somebody was gonna fall, right? And whenever they came out and said Shedeur Sanders was gonna fall, I was like, bro. So you mean to tell me that the Cleveland Browns, with their ability to trade back up, even if they don't get them in the beginning, ain't gonna get them? You trying to tell me that the New York Giants ain't gonna get them? The Giants traded back up, they still passed on them. Trying to tell me that the Saints, who with Derek Carr down there faking the injury, ain't gonna get them? Like, come on, Bo. I mean, look, it's a thing. ATL is in here, says bully ball. Yes, sir. That's the only kind of ball to play on the football field. Oh man. He says, Abo, Jaylen and Troy gonna be nasty. Man, I don't know if Troy's gonna be in here long term, bro. I mean, shoot, we actually got to be able to see him play. I mean, every time he gets the opportunity, if he ain't getting his jaw shook off, he's somewhere under the medical tent, right? So shoot, I mean, we got to see the young Thundercat play first. Definitely. Do need y'all to make sure if you're excited about what the Atlanta Falcons did today, well, I'm sorry, did yesterday, make sure that y'all hit that like button. Also, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with your friends and family. I would definitely and greatly appreciate it. Definitely. Man, boy, I did not know that whenever we came on, I mean, I guess y'all knew what the tradition was. You know, we've been coming on after the draft for like the last 3-4 years. Y'all are in here faithfully. It looks like on YouTube we have 190 people in here at 1:00 in the morning. Y'all love y'all some Falcons football, don't you? I'm not mad at it, bro. Look, if you're someone new who hasn't been subscribed to the channel yet, y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so y'all know that we on here. Tay Bro says, Troy love Gatorade and Icy Hot too. Dag gum. That's rough. Coach Carey says, what position would you like to go with our third rounder tomorrow? Edge, cornerback, safety, or defensive tackle? So I'm glad you asked that, Coach Carey. So the question is, Coach Carey said, I can't sleep. I'm so hype and happy. Carey, boy. Man, hopefully you can make some croissants so while you're, up pacing the floor. But yeah, so Coach Carey, I want to go cornerback, in all honesty. The reason why I want to go cornerback is because cornerback, so we're getting into the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds. Cornerback is more of a skill position, right? In this scheme, especially if you're talking about running like a 3-4, because your 4-3 defensive tackles, I mean, you kind of have them already, right? Your Ruka Rororos, your Brandon Dorleses, Contavious Streets of the world. You're going to be kicking Zach Harrison in on the, he's going to be playing some inside and outside. But one thing about it is defensive tackles, you don't have to really take them. I'm sorry, not defensive tackles, but nose tackles. There's really no need to take a nose tackle early in the draft because at the end of the day, first of all, that nose tackle is not going to be taking 60 snaps a game. So he doesn't have to be in the greatest of physical condition, right? I could get a nose tackle in the 6th, 5th, 7th round who I just need him to take on 2 blocks. If he's capable of taking on 2 blocks, I'm perfectly fine with. Now, on the other side, when I look at the rest of the needs, cornerback, if we're going to be in a situation where we're going to trust our secondary more because Terry Fontenot and Jimmy Lake didn't trust our secondary before. That's why we were playing all of that soft coverage. They were just letting them catch everything in front of them and just coming up and tackling. And sometimes they weren't doing that right. But if we want to trust our secondary even more and pair them with this newfound pass rush that we're trying to build, you need to get a legitimate number 2 cornerback that you could put on the other side of AJ Terrell. Now, mind you, Mike Hughes, I really like Mike Hughes, but I'm sure there's a rangy 6'3" corner out there that runs a 4-4 who is perfect for playing that cover 3 scheme. If you could get a guy like that, you talk about Legion of Boom 2.0, that's whenever it's going down like there's a well in the bowl. Because we all seen what AJ is capable of doing. AJ got his contract last year, and AJ balled out with the circumstances that he had. Just imagine if you had someone who actually let them play defense, opposed to playing 15 yards off the ball on a 3rd and 6. So, I mean, out of all those guys, I legitimately would like to get a cornerback. I think that would really help set things off. Lex is in here. Lex says, I think Jalen Ramsey ends up in Atlanta. That Pearce trade showed me that Terry's desperate. Yeah, man. And, a desperate man could be aggressive successfully, or he can shoot himself in the foot. Unfortunately. And look, I don't want to be a situation where we're seeing, Terry limping around. I don't want to see that. Oh, that's right, Ian. Rise up, rise up. Man, everybody's excited. Everybody's excited. It's looking like the Atlanta Falcons are trying to take the next step and go to the next level. Ron said, who's too small, Ron? Let me know who's too small. Millie Mill says, man, Jaylen just fell in our lap. They had to take him. But they did all the homework on JPJ, though. They ain't want to waste research and time. I completely understand that. Ghost Pepper says Atlanta Bird not only that, Troy can't stay on the field. So pretty pointless waiting on this dude to blossom to Luke Kuechly 2.0. Exactly. That's definitely the case, man. That's definitely the case. Hold on 1 second here, guys. 1 second here. My homeboy Jack Spade, he literally just taught Falcons football for like 6 hours, and he's still ready. He's still trying to do it some more. You gotta love it, bro. Jack Spade talk about he trying to go on the golf course tomorrow. He gonna be too tired. He ain't trying to do all that. Oh man, I put it in the group chat, Jack. Oh man. Yes. Ron Johnson, he called a lot of bad coverage for the edge. I mean, Jimmy Lake called a whole bunch of bad coverage for everybody. It wasn't just for the edges. I mean, did Jimmy Lake call for Matthew Judon to be backpedaling and guarding random running backs on 3rd down? Yes, he did. But it's like I was saying before, guys. I was saying this all throughout the season. The issue with Jimmy Lake was he was just trying to protect his corner. He was trying to protect his cornerbacks and DBs and the safeties. He didn't want to have it be a situation where he ended up on ESPN. He wanted to protect his guys. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I ain't mad at it. Yuri says, I want to go golf with you and Jack, drink the moonshine that he turned. Man, see. I don't know why you even have that up, man.
This how I know the Falcons did something great.
What in the world, Bo?
Because we got Big Low Country at 1 a.m. in the morning on draft night. Still talking Falcons football, y'all.
Bo. Look at here, man. At the end of the day, everybody know I do it. Look, everybody know I do it every year. Tip. I can't sleep after the draft. Like whether it's a good draft, bad draft, surprising draft, everybody, it's tradition now. We gonna sit up and we finna talk some ball.
So I'm assuming you're enjoying both picks though, right?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, look here. I mean, I look at and what me and the coaching staff was talking about, and I apologize, Tip. Look, everybody don't know this is my homeboy A1 Forever, Chris Tip Moore. Make sure that y'all check him out.
Y'all doing?
Definitely. Yeah. So the elephant that was in the room was, everybody talking about trading that 1st round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of look at picks like I do with money, Chris. And I don't know if you ever heard my financial philosophy. So my financial philosophy is whoever dies and owes the most wins.
Boy, I tell you. Well, now.
So, look, you look at the situation. Terry, he's in a situation where his back's against the wall. So it's like I was telling the coaching staff, why clean the dishes for somebody else if you think you finna get cooked out the kitchen?
Right, right.
You know?
Oh boy, that's funny right there. but it makes so much sense.
I'm just saying, whoever dies of owes the most wins, Tip.
Oh
You
boy.
know? That's it, man. Shouts out to Jay in here. Brandon says that's right. You know it, Lo. You already know it. So tell us how you feeling about it, Tip.
Hey man, when I seen that Jaylen Walker was still there, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, man, it's another dog right there. I know Mike Green, I know, like Donovan Izaraku, but I'm just like, and I'm like, still, could trade back, never know. And when we stayed packed and they said the pick is in, I said, okay. That's when I really strapped in. And then when they said Jaylen Walker, I said, well, I'll be doggone.
Boy, what you talk about, boy?
And we got a player that you can put anywhere, man.
Yeah.
And so that was cool right there. And we was talking about, man, what if the Falcons, trade back in? We just throwing ideas around. We throwing stuff off the wall, seeing what stick.
That's
And
it.
then next thing you know, them Falcons did some business with those LA Rams.
Yes,
We know
sir.
them, by the way. We know some folks out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
so did some business with those Rams. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I said, if it ain't Mike Green, I said Donovan Izaraku.
And that's what I want. I ain't gonna lie. Till we've been on the same page like for the
Yeah,
last
man.
2-3 months on boy Izaraku.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie. I thought that's where we were going. But we got James Pearce Jr. And I will say that's a Chuck Smith product.
Yes.
Something I learned tonight. I learned that tonight.
Yes. Yes. He did because
Ain't
T
T
Will.
Will.
T Whistle.
That ain't T Will the thrill.
Daggone.
What's going on? Y'all all right?
Oh yeah, man. We
So
doing good, boy.
I think we better than all right, man. I think we got 2 day one bookend starters. That's what I think.
Yeah, we did.
Man,
Yeah, we did.
T Will, you just came back for that Checkers drive through. That's the only thing open this late.
no, no, man. No, it was more
Hey,
like Burger King DoorDash.
no,
Oh, okay. I got
no,
Hey
I
man,
promise, Miss Christie, I'm only one man. I promise.
hey,
you. Oh, see, it says you clone.
Yes, man. Say I'm everywhere, man.
my man is there. We got
That's
Jack.
another guy that's everywhere, though,
Oh,
man.
Jack Spade, Jack Spizzy.
Yes, sir. This is the OT. We call this the OT.
Man,
OT
Well,
for
we definitely in overtime.
man, I'm surprised y'all still got voices. After doing them draft shows. Them draft shows ain't no joke. I know I came on there with y'all at the end, boy. I was like, man, these fellas need some juice.
Man,
Man.
bruh, 6.5 hours, man. But I can tell you right now, from the fans in the chat, well, 6 hours. We got around like 5:55. So yeah, about 6 hours. But for you, country, for A1, for that guy T Will, former ATL Sports, fans in the chat that was watching and listening over there on our channel, thank you so much. We plan to do just 4 hours. And once the pick was made and the Falcons traded back up, it's just the excitement. It's everything that's built up this offseason as a fan because you're ready for a change. Like you're truly ready for a change. And I saw a change tonight. I saw a team that wants to get after it. Raheem talked to Terry. Seeing that clock tick down and they didn't have their pick in, y'all saw it on the channel when we was live. I was like, what are they doing?
Yes.
Somebody's in there arguing or fighting or doing something. But it was probably about Jaylen Walker. They didn't expect him to probably be there at 15. And I'm sure the play, don't forget now, they're masterminds behind this. I'm sure they probably said, if we get Jaylen now, let's trade back up later on. And I was surprised to see these moves made. But overall, I want to say thank you to the fans that just make these content creators, channels just, you know,
Yes.
pop off and the views and the comments and everything. Man, thank you. Thank you all. And country, thank you for taking the time out your day to pull up. A1 showed up. around 7:15, and then everyone came back again like 11:45, and then he's here now at 1 a.m. talking Falcons. This is real deal Falcon behavior. We care about this team. We really want to see this team win. We're talking to the fans, even if it's 1, 2, 3 in the morning. It doesn't matter. So thank you all once again for tonight. Big Low Country, man. Hey, that golf swing getting on point. Telling you, man, you're going pro, bro. You're going pro.
Hey, man, look, you already know what time it is, man. But tonight we're talking about 2 new Falcons that just went pro. Tonight we're talking about Jaylen Walker. Tonight we talk about my guy. Look here.
Go
How
Dogs.
many times have I defended James Pearce Jr. in the chat, Jack? How many times have I defended this guy? Over and over again.
I gotta give it to you.
I will say
You
that
have been defending James Pearce Jr.
now.
I ain't
I'm
gonna
not.
cap, but you've been saying about the work ethic is there. You felt you don't had dinner with the kid. He seems like a good young man to you. So for me to you, I give you your salute because you said it from the beginning, and now look out. So
Look out.
And plus, you spent some time up there at Tennessee too, walking around the campus. So I'm sure you probably heard some good things about James Pearce Jr. that people might not have heard, and you probably won't mention it here. But I'm sure we got a really good player with the
Yes.
Atlanta Falcons. But I can say this: I feel good for one. Out of Your Falcon Mind did their final show. Well, they said it was their final show. We know they love football, so it definitely wasn't their final show. But when they had their show, they invited us on from one time, and Mike asked me, Jack, who do you think? Aaron Freeman was there, I was there, T. Will was there. He said, Jack, who do you think the Falcons could be looking at around that pick? And it's still recorded. I'm glad they still have it saved. I mentioned James Pearce Jr. I threw the name out early back when they had that show. So I need to go back and do some more work. I threw James Pearce Jr. because early in the process, his name came up to the Atlanta Falcons. Shamar Stewart and James Pearce Jr. were the first 2 names that I had heard back during this whole process about, they could be possible linked to the Falcons around 15. And then we got close to the draft and so on. But now look at this. We got Jaylen Walker. We got James Pearce Jr. Country, there's some people that's kind of iffy about James Pearce off the field situation and talking back coaches and all that stuff. Country, you know anything about this? Like, do we really have a dog on and off the field, or can we just get some mentor for him and help him out?
Well, so the first thing that I want to mention, and T. Will, I definitely want to get your input in a second. But the first thing I want to mention about James Pearce Jr. is that Tim Banks, one of my good friends, Tim Banks, who's the defensive coordinator at University of Tennessee, he also was Michael Parsons' defensive coordinator at Penn State. He's a guy that knows how to use, those guys with that same body type, that 6'4", 6'5", 240, twitchy, knows how to use, different pass rush moves, knows how to work in space, just knows how to just be a dog on the football field. But when it comes to James Pearce, I've been to like 3 or 4 of their practices, right? And Coach Gardner, who was the D-line's coach at Georgia in the late 90s and the early 2000s, he's an old school coach, and he's one of those guys. He's not going to use a spoon. He's going to use a shovel to dig in your behind if you ain't acting right. And I've seen him give James Pearce Jr. an earful multiple times, and it's not a situation where he's not coachable. He's passionate, and that's what you want. There's a thin line. There's a thin line between those guys who are passionate and those guys who just aren't coachable because they can't control their emotions. He takes coaching, he listens to it, and he uses it on the next play. And that's what you want on the football field. That's what we haven't had. We haven't had the guys who are passionate. Vic Beasley gave us one good year, but Vic Beasley wasn't as passionate as, I would venture to say, a James Pearce Jr. He's not as passionate as a Grady Jarrett. That's why Grady Jarrett lasted here longer.
I was about to say the most passionate player just left the building. That's
Exactly. So that's legitimately, Jack. You sit on the sideline with me at Atlanta Falcons games in the Maybach Terrace. You seen how Ruka Roro comes over to the sideline, throws his helmet, and hits the bench because he's passionate. So I mean, that's something that we did legitimately got to acknowledge. We got a Superman chat. First of all, Willie Doc came in here. He says, what in the world, Bo? He says, y'all still up getting naked? Blessings, Big Low. Da da da. That's a Superman chat. Willie Doc.
Yes, sir.
Look at here, man. We excited. I feel like this is one of the most. I feel like this might be franchise changing first round of the NFL draft. T. Will, tell me what you thinking about this draft right here, Bo.
Low, I gotta be honest. I think this is one of the best drafts we've ever had. From the standpoint of we got what we needed. We didn't need defensive ends and go get receivers. We didn't need a defensive end and go get a tight end or a running back. Or we went and drafted the position of need, and we traded back into the first round and did it again. And I think it was great. And as far as what people say about various players, look, at sometimes guys just don't mesh. One of the greatest running backs ever, Terrell Davis, was hated by his college coach, somebody, I can't think of whoever, but he hated him, didn't want to play him. And I believe Terrell Davis is a Hall of Famer. So, and he gave Terrell Davis a very bad report going into the draft. So you can't always listen, because sometimes, to your point, maybe it's passion, maybe it's a personality disconnect. Maybe these personalities just don't mesh. Maybe they're from two different corners of the world, and it's just different. But look, obviously the Falcons have done extensive research, and I'm excited about the pick. I'm looking forward to it. Raheem has the ability to connect with players. I got to think that played a large part in it. I'm sure Jeff Ulbrich took a look at him and Jalon Walker and Jaylen Walker. I'm sorry. And I'm just excited about it, man. I think we got 2 day one starters. I think we got exactly what we need. And look, if we can couple this with trading for Jalen Ramsey, I think the sky's the limit for this team, man. So I'm just excited about it. And, hey, like you, Big Low, I'm just looking forward, man. I'm excited. I can't see how the Falcons did not win the first night of the draft.
That's what I was saying.
You know what I mean?
Man. And my apologies, y'all. Look at here. I don't know if it's because I've been sipping on this.
And it's the watermelon one too.
Now I'm gonna tell y'all something. My famous saying, and for everyone who's just coming in here, my famous saying all the time is, it might be water, it might be moonshine, or it might be Kool-Aid, or it might be moonshine. But if you see me smiling, that just means I'm happy to see you, because what's in my cup is in my cup. Tonight, T. Will, there are no in between. It's moonshine. It's moonshine.
There we go.
Tonight is moon. I ain't going to work tomorrow.
There's Big Low conspiracy.
I ain't going to work tomorrow. So tonight, guys, it's moonshine. And my apologies, because my manners. I'm so excited. Getting naked. Auditioning for the Cheetah Lounge. I didn't introduce y'all. T. Will, my bad. T, could you introduce yourself, brother? I apologize, man. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Big Low, you owe me no apologies, sir. Just the fact that you simply had the hospitality to allow me to come on your show, on your network, is good enough for me. I'm all good just being in your presence, brother. I'm happy to be here. I am T. Will from One Time for the Fan, and of my own channel, which is For My ATL Sports 1, the number 4 My ATL Sports, the number 1 on YouTube. And hey, man, excited to be here and happy to talk about these Falcons and what they did tonight, man.
Definitely, man.
Sir.
And Tip, you want to let everybody know where they can find you at as well?
Oh man, A1 Forever Sports. That's the platform on YouTube. Hey, just want to say, man, shout out to Terry Fontenot, man, making it happen tonight.
Yeah.
Shout out to the draft board for
Yes.
falling how it fell and letting Jaylen Walker fall to us, and Terry Fontenot being able to convert on something that he tried to do last year, which was trade back into the first round and get yet another bookend player for the Atlanta Falcons.
So one thing that
Hey,
I'm excited about, and
Jack,
A1
Jack,
talk.
Jack, you gotta introduce yourself. You can't just talk now. You gotta, people. Everybody know who you is, Jack. Well, I'm sorry, they probably do.
Well, they,
Because they probably seen you working on my roof.
true,
Replacing the
true.
shingle
Wow.
on the
Wow.
roof.
Wow.
But tell them about one time for the fans, Jack. They know about Jack's roofing services.
Mm. Uh, uh.
Wow.
bro, it's 1:30 in the morning. I just did 6 hours, bro. Like,
I love it. I love
look,
it. I love it.
one time for the fan, Jack Spade, um, co-host right here, T. Will. Man, we do a good job of talking Falcons with Bodie, 3000, and Miss Carrie too as well.
Miss Carrie,
Every
dang.
Sunday night at 8, Wednesday nights at 8, Friday mornings breakfast with one time for the fan. That's right. We have a show in like 8 hours. But at the end of the day, we love talking Falcons football. It's all for the fans. It's from the fan for the fan with us. Also, the VP of the Rise Up Tour fan club. You guys probably heard about what we do on the road when we travel to away games, putting on parties, putting on events. If you're a Saints fan, we probably do a parade in your city
Yes.
because we can do that.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
big shout out to everybody that's out there enjoying what happened tonight. And don't forget, country, May 14th, the
What happened?
NFL schedule
Mm-hmm.
What
releases
happened May
May
14th?
14th.
May 14th.
May
Schedule release.
14th. So it's really go time. And to see Terry call James Pearce and say, get ready to get on the field, get ready to go play.
Yes.
This is the moment I think Falcon fans should be excited about. We got two defensive players who is projected top 10, top 15.
Yes.
And of course James Pearce Jr. If he would have went out in the draft last year, he could have been easily a top 10, top 5 pick.
Easily.
So you got some guys in the room that is gonna shake up some things. My thing I want to say that's very important is you did exactly what we talked about. You went to go get your new defensive coordinator, your new linebackers coach, and your new defensive line coach two new cars to
You're
drive
right.
around the city with. I'm talking
There
about
Yes.
to
you go.
show off. To show off. Nate Ali should have a field day with James Pearce, and Mike Ruttenberg and Jeff Olbrich should have a field day with Jalen Walker. But it's all
Right.
gonna, go hand in hand when everybody's working with each other to make sure we get better. But I'm not worried about. I think the Colts and the Vikings and the Saints and the Bucks, they should be worried about the Falcons this year. If they took note like what we just did, we're gonna get to the quarterback.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna
Oh,
get
yeah.
there. My question is about David Amiata now. Do we want country? And you might be able to know about this one quickly. Do we want David Amiata on the team right now? Do we need the 9 million, or do we want a veteran presence like David? Because his pressure rate succession is up there. Like he has a really good pressure rate. He can get to the quarterbacks. Just that
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
had his trouble before in the past, but his pressure rates is top. Like it's pretty good. I mean, we got some players here. Would you keep David at this point,
Well,
Terry or country?
I, I'm sorry. Go,
No,
go
you go
ahead.
ahead, you will.
I definitely would keep David at this point. Look, David only makes you better. Okay, because
Yep.
to your point, he is a veteran. You
Yeah. That's
you
why.
veteran in that locker room. You do need a certain amount of veteran status, and I think the Falcons got a whole lot better tonight. I don't think people realize exactly that's exactly where we were weak, and we just made that a position of strength. We got two studs tonight. We also got Braylon Trice coming back, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's really three
Yeah.
new pass rushers that are going to join us next year. And I'm excited to see what we can do with it, and move forward. But hey, man, they nailed the draft as far as
Yes.
I'm concerned. They
Yes.
nailed it.
We won the first round, if you ask
Oh
me.
yeah.
I've
All
been
day.
We
saying that,
did.
How about it?
and I don't see it as no other way on how we did not win the first round.
Yeah,
You
I
know, and the thing about it is about Terry, I will give him this. He did not lie, because in that press conference, I know y'all seen the press conference, right?
mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right, so
After the
in the
draft
but no,
or
before the
before?
draft, I
Yeah.
ain't,
Okay.
yeah. All right, so before the draft, he was asked the question, and then he said, "Oh no, I'm aggressive. I'll move up." And that just stuck out in my mind because I was just like, "Yeah, you will try that because you
Yeah.
tried last year." And like I said, the board fell the way it fell. They probably was going to go Pierce Jr. at 15, but Jalen Walker was there, and they were just like,
Yeah.
"Well, you know." can we miss out on Walker? I think not. So let's take Jalen Walker. And then the board kept falling the way it fell, and it was like, all right, let's try to make a move here with the Rams.
Yeah. And
Guys.
good shout out to Raheem for calling the Rams. Somebody had to call the Rams and be like, "Oh, I know somebody over there."
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I said. We familiar with them. We know a few people over there.
Exactly. I got a couple Superman chats. Hold on, guys. I got
Go
Willie
ahead, do
Dodd.
your thing.
He says, does this move mean playoffs or bust? Thanks, Lo. Dun, dun, dun. That's a Superman chat. Also, we're gonna come back to that question. We also got another one, Coach Willie Dodd. He says, good job, Fontenot. Now Olbrich and Morris have to really coach these players up. Looking ahead, we need to finagle multiple day 2 picks for next year. Dun, dun, dun. That's a Superman chat, guys.
Low key, that's Terry's next move next year if he's still here. It's the finagle picks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you already gave up the first round knowing that you're not expecting to pick in the top 10 next year. You're going for You're going for the division. You're going for your job extension. You're going for the playoffs. You're going to sell out the Benz. You're going for the first home playoff game. That was the talk in that room when they traded that first round pick. The talk in that room is we got to go win this shit. Let's go get it.
Well, look, if he wants to be in a situation where he still has a parking spot at the Benz next year, we got to acknowledge Willie's first question, and I want to ask everybody in the chat: do you feel like the Atlanta Falcons, is it playoff or bust, or do you feel like we'll make the playoffs next year? If you feel like, and we don't know everything that's going to happen as far as the rest of the draft, but do you feel optimistic about making the playoffs? If you do, put a 1 in the chat. If it's a situation where it's like, nah, you're
gonna get those fans.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
They haven't seen the team on the field yet. Everything's on
paper. Right. And everything is on paper, like Jack said, and you got to play on the field. Then you got to play on the field. I think it is going to be somewhat of, at least, I don't want to say playoff or bust. I don't want to say that, but I do want to say he is putting all his cards on the table.
Yes.
I do want to say that because his job is on the line, his extension is on the line, so he is going all in. And I'm glad that he was able to hit these two home runs right here. So like I said, 2 day 1 starters. I just want to see exactly what he's going to do for the rest of the draft, for the rest of the offseason, because again, and by the way, I am with keeping David Amanyata at this point for the veteran presence and all that good stuff like that. Having Leonard Floyd is going to help. Arnold Abracady, we're going to see how he's going to be able to benefit off of this. It's a lot of guys, just on that line. So we're going to see exactly who's going to be able to benefit off of this the most and help us the most. I'm just excited, that we just really got stronger in areas we were weak. And fellas, man, rise up, man.
Because I'm sitting here looking at y'all. I mean, I know that y'all done did 6-hour shows. I've been chilling. But I know y'all been doing 6-hour shows. It's like, look, y'all need to get it. Look, y'all need some energy. Y'all need some energy or something.
Man, rise up, man.
I got a question for you guys. Have you guys seen the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Okay.
All right. Did tonight's draft remind you of that, with him trading back in the first and getting another player that he really needed? Like this was just, I'm sitting there thinking, especially the fact that Jaylen Walker fell to us, right? Because I'm watching the draft. Shedeur Sanders doesn't get picked at all. You got all these other picks. The Panthers take a wide receiver. You got some other guys that took some tackles and offensive linemen. And when it gets to about 13, I think I said to Jack, well, Jack, what do you think Miami's going to do? Because they were rumored to take a defensive player. And they didn't. And all of a sudden, Jaylen Walker falls to us in this miraculous occurrence. And we take him. And I'm like, all right, great, we got the pick. Then, as we're talking about it and going through it, all of a sudden we hear, well, the Falcons have traded back into round 26, and they went and got another pass rusher. And first and foremost, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, but it just reminded me of that movie and everything that took place. Lo, can you speak to that? Was it similar to you, that experience tonight, or give me your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was very similar. How, especially linebacker feel, and then the whole thing about James Pearce. Everybody saying, and the crazy thing is like, it's not like it was a situation where everybody was coming out saying James Pearce Jr. had character issues.
Right.
It was like that game of telephone. Like one person, probably said, you know, James Smith, James Pearce Jr. probably said, "Man, this coach breath stink." And then it went on from there. It was like, "Man, I heard James Pearce Jr. man said he'll knock the breath out of the coach's mouth." And then it went from that to, "Man, James Pearce Jr. he broke the coach back like Bane did Batman in the Dark Knight." Then it went from that to, "Man, he ran the coach over with a car. He just uncoachable." Like, you see what I'm saying? So I mean, in that way, it does have similarities where it might be a situation where the player who fell, due to the quote unquote character issues, may have been misunderstood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right.
the player in draft day, everybody didn't know what was going on. He went up to the stands because of it was a situation where the world didn't know about what was going on, but it's between him and those fans there. So, bro, like that could very well be the case. I'm just still shocked, whenever I say, "Hey, we have two game changers that both played in the SEC who were, the leaders of their defense essentially, and two teams who were Tennessee were close to the playoffs, and Georgia, they're always in the mix." I mean, bro, like to bring that kind of pedigree in here, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy,
Yeah.
and
Two SEC stunners.
two SEC stunners, bro.
Yeah, big shout out to James Pierce Jr. I'm looking through his profile and everything. The girl that was with him tonight, that's Rakia Jackson from the Los Angeles Sparks.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you said like that for, Tip? Like,
I'm just
Yeah.
that's Rakia Jackson from the Sparks. I was like, oh wow, like I was wondering like
I,
who in the
I,
world.
I,
So
I was very proud of
yeah,
of our
big shout out
new
to James
pass
Pierce Jr.
rusher.
Man.
Very
wow, Tip.
very proud. He picked a very outstanding young lady.
Wow,
She,
Tip.
she what you talking about? I said she's a very talented young lady. You seen
Yeah,
her play basketball?
Yuri just came out and said it. Yuri just said she fine. So I don't know why
Man,
y'all tipping
Yuri,
around, you know.
What? Oh, I mean, well, yeah, that too, that too. But what I'm saying,
Yuri,
she
it's
actually can
1:30.
play basketball well, though. She really
Yuri,
can.
it's 1:30. You can go in the club now. You don't have to sit in the parking lot. You can go in.
Daggone.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yuri owns the club, so I don't know
That's right.
why.
Yuri's checking the books.
Damn right.
You talk about right now. Check.
Amen. You better know it.
Yuri owns the
Know
club.
it.
I do want to mention something, Country. You might be able to chime in on this. A1T will too. The Mike Green situation. If we would have selected Mike Green, that could have been a major issue because, as you can see, maybe word got around. Because this morning, T-Will, I dropped it in the chat at 8 o'clock. I said there's
Yeah.
word that Mike Green could be falling out of the first round,
Yep.
and
Uh-huh.
sure enough, all that talk about he can go here at 10, 11 and mock draft. Country A1 T Will, this man was not selected. Did teams dodge your bullet? Is there behind the scenes talk about the essay? Because the Falcons, that could have been our pick, and people could have been laughing. And 17 sacks does mean a lot on the field, but off the field is way more important because you spend a lot more time off the field than on the field.
Hello.
That's right.
So, what's the situation there, man? Because we dodged one with Mike Green, but it looks like 31 other teams did too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, he may continue to fall. I mean, we'll see about day two, but no, man, he may continue to fall. I think he can be a day two pick, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he
I think
continue to,
it definitely
yeah,
go.
yeah.
They're stacked right now. Looking at day two, I'm looking at some of the names. I mean, I'm sure the Falcons won't get
So
nasty,
many
move on,
corners,
but
so
yeah,
many
Bro.
corners.
yeah. Even day three, if Shamar Turner from Texas A&M drops to day three, I mean not day three. If he falls to the third round, that might be your big nasty in the middle. And now we're cooking. Now what is saying? Now we're cooking with fish grease, bro.
Ah,
Mhm.
Gone. Not fish grease.
Fish grease, old fish grease too. Didn't even
So we
have.
were talking about that a little bit earlier because somebody asked me. They was like, "Hey, would you rather get a tackle, defensive tackle or slash nose tackle, in the third round, or would you rather get a cornerback?" And it might just be my logic, and I know this might sound um like the most so unlike me because I'm a big advocate of the big pretties, but The fact of the matter is,
The big pretty. I love it, Lo. I
Tripping
love
me
it.
out every time you say it.
I
but
love it.
the fact of the matter is that if I have to choose, if I'm in the third round and I have to choose between a defensive tackle and a cornerback, I'm taking the cornerback every time. Unless it's a generational defensive tackle, a dancing bear, I'm taking that cornerback who's
That dancing bear already went,
a
though, I think.
dancing bear. I'm taking that cornerback every time because all I need, especially if it's a nose tackle, all I need that nose tackle to do is just take on 2 blocks. I'm just trying to get that nose tackle to get my newly, drafted edge rushers isolated, on those guys
So,
on the outside.
so low. If Deion Walker is there, you taking him?
It depends on
Even
the
if it's,
cornerbacks there, bro.
I'm about to say, even if it's other cornerbacks out there, would you take Deion Walker there?
I mean, I would seriously consider it. In third round,
You're going into that cornerback room where there's 8 corners and 3 safeties. I'm not looking at corner in that third round. I'm just thinking of Raheem. But you brought back D offer. You didn't have to resign D. You didn't have to resign Kevin King. You could have went to go get your corner.
Camp bodies though.
I know they're camp bodies, but you still could have went to go get your corner right there in that third round. That was your guy,
bro.
You brought back.
All I'm
Keith
saying
Taylor,
is,
Mike Ford, and re-signed Mike Hughes. You went corner pretty early.
Didn't trust the corners last year, Jack. That's why we were playing soft cover 3 shell all season. They didn't trust the corners. So it's like if you go ahead and you bring back a whole bunch of the guys who you didn't trust last year, I mean, why not go off and get another? I mean, because I know we did bring in a couple of corners already, but I mean, if there's a legit cornerback out there that I know could be my number 2 guy, I mean, I gotta go with it, Jack.
Is it 3 more picks left?
We just got 2 now. I mean, after that third one, we just have 2 after that.
And do you think the Falcons would go corner and then lineman? I think lineman is I think offensive lineman is definitely one of the picks.
Yeah.
I think we need to go offensive line sometime.
I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, Terry said himself, like, look, we're going to be doing a lot of work in the 8th round. There are going to be a lot of guys who are going to be gone in this in undrafted free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to be huge.
Where
Like,
did that 7th come from?
Well, we had 2 7s.
Mm-hmm.
We had what the Rams didn't. The Rams was the 3rd, right? When we moved out the 2nd. The Rams trade.
Yeah, the Rams is the Rams trade. Yeah,
we got pick 101 and they got pick 46 from us.
Yeah, they gave us a 3rd, and we gave them our 2nd.
What was the 2nd pick the Rams gave us?
No, the 3rd pick is 101.
Yeah.
1. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we got their first.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they swapped out the 1st round and then 101 and then you're right. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, and then we gave them our 1st round next year.
Okay.
Didn't they
I was too excited.
7th round pick this year as well. Like what? Somebody look.
Yeah, we gave them the actual trade was Falcons get Rams pick and they get a 3rd rounder. Rams get the second rounder, and they get a 7th rounder, and then they get our 1st round next year.
That's right.
That was the trade.
But we got to be real here about Terry and this team. That next pick is probably the one that's on the 53. Anything after that is fighting for a job.
Yeah.
So this next pick has to be another gem.
Man, but I just thought about something. I forgot about Divine Diablo.
You got Morgan Fox too.
Yeah.
And you got Morgan Fox. No, I was just thinking about Jalen Walker because I was like, dang, so you got Jalen Walker, but I forgot you went out and got a Divine Diablo.
Yeah.
But Didi's your mic, right?
Well, Caden's your mic, right?
Oh, Caden's your
Caden needs to move.
Kalen is probably moving.
Yeah, Caden needs to be in the edge group.
Yeah. I don't think he's the mic anymore.
I mean, with Didi's experience with, is who's taking the green cap next year?
That's and that's what I was saying. I mean, it's like, dude, I don't know much about Diablo. Like, I don't know.
I've never seen him as a play caller, like a signal caller.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. All I know is that he's fast. So I don't know if it's a situation where, you know, he could, you know, direct traffic, tell everybody where they need to go
and play his game.
And play his game at the same time.
Yeah.
Now I know Caden Ellis can do that.
I think I ain't gonna lie, bro. If Troy gets fucking summer underneath him, bro, if Troy Anderson, bro, you might have Troy out there calling them damn signals, bro. Because Troy's a nasty guy. Only problem is, anytime Troy goes to tackle, I always pray.
Yes.
Right? Like, get up, Troy. Get up, Troy. Oh,
I think
there's another play. Too. You know, because Troy leans in. He's a bull. Like, he goes for the kill shot. You know, so I hope you can get 100% out of Troy, because Troy is a solid player if you get him out the whole season. Problem is, like I said, he leans in, you know, really physical with his tackling, and he's going up against guys that's lowering their shoulders too as well, and sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out the best.
So,
you know,
where are we playing Jaylen Walker?
You got to put him up. You heard what Jaylen. You heard what they said. Now they got multiple schemes for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could see him.
He's gonna be on the line.
He's probably gonna be on the edge. He might be on the opposite side of James from Tennessee. You might have them by bookends in some formations.
Well, Country, you know these fronts. What's your 3-4 front? You're gonna have Caden Ellis and Dede in the middle. You're gonna have Arnold Ebiketie or Floyd and Jaylen to the outside. You're gonna have Zach Harrison, probably David Amiata and Morgan Fox. However they're gonna move that rotation.
Technique.
Yeah, I mean, you know it better than me. But that's what I'm kind of looking at. I think Scott Krisik's probably gonna start putting together his projection, but he penciled in Jaylen Walker over Leonard Floyd once he got signed. Is Jaylen Walker started? Is Leonard Floyd starting? Is Arnold Ebiketie starting?
Bro, look at
Dude, that's what we got camp for.
That's true, but look at the past, bro. Like, one thing about the Falcons, they always draft their guys for next year, not this year. So, I mean, don't be surprised if you get a Jaylen Walker or a James Pearce and he only gets like 60 snaps because he's grooming them for next year. Like, legitimately, don't be surprised if that's not the case.
Yeah.
Gotta look at that.
Wait,
they did Dorless like that. They groomed Dorless like that.
Total. Are you saying?
No, he's saying total, not
total.
Yeah, not per game. Because if it's 60 snaps per game, you think about it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're talking about 60 snaps total, like for the season.
You didn't draft him in a. Respect.
Hey. Oh yeah, trust me. I'm just saying. Based off of what we've seen in the past, like you know, how many times have we seen them draft guys and just? I mean, I'm sitting here like, bro, like this ain't baseball. You ain't putting them in AAA.
But wait, low. This is the first year we ever drafted defensive guys in the first round with Terry.
True.
Yeah, now we get a chance to see if they are starters or if they're. You said impact players, and you went to go trade up for 2. They better be fucking starting on that first.
Yeah, they gotta be day one starters.
This is why y'all are smarter than I am. This is exactly why, right here.
But you were right, Country, about building up players for last year. Can't nobody say nothing about Dorless. I've already mentioned it. Like, bro, they held Dorless out until those 2 games when they were short on depth and they needed a player. They brought him in, and after those 2 games, they put him right back out. Like, they're building up players for next year. Sometimes about development too, but we didn't see enough to say Dorless is a penciled-in starter. We got to be honest.
That's true.
You guys are not. Let's be honest here. Nobody's penciling in Contavious Street as a day 1 starter. Nobody's penciling in what's the guy's name? Taekwon Graham as a day 1 starter.
He's still on the team.
He's on the team.
Yeah, he back.
So right now we're looking at who? Rook. Harrison.
Yeah.
Morgan Fox and James Pearce. Or however that's your edge. More in the middle. Lakel London? Probably not. Khalid Kareem? I don't think so. So unless they get a big nasty tomorrow, that's like this guy's on the team. Well, that's your front. That's the front we're looking at. That's why I'm not opposed to getting rid of David Amiata at this point. You might need that big nasty as David in the middle.
Bro, that's but you know what? It's like we're mentioning all of these names. It's feeling more and more like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bruh.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Because it's like as we're mentioning all the names on this defense, as we're mentioning the Zach Harrisons, the Arnold Ebiketies, the Leonard Floyds, Braylon Trice, Jalen Walker, James Pearce.
The two moves tonight had no concern with Zach Robinson. He probably wasn't even in the fucking room.
Bro.
They said, Zach, we'll call you tomorrow. Like, all
Yeah,
right, bro,
exactly.
I
Bro.
ain't trying to
bro.
start I ain't trying to start no mess or nothing, but it's
What?
all advocating on the hot seat.
Bro, it's all contract here, of course.
Yeah, it's a contract.
Mhm.
Bro, they just drafted 2 pass rushers.
I'm just saying. I just wanted to address another elephant in the room.
But
That's
look, that has
all.
to make you better, though. That's the game of
I
football,
just
though.
wanted to
Arnold
address
even
another
knows it.
elephant in the room,
But
bro.
Arnold knows it, bro.
Somebody says, I don't want to start no mess. That's like saying no disrespect. You already know some disrespect.
Exactly.
Follow.
Exactly.
I mean, because it's late, you know. I don't mean to.
I mean,
I don't mean
as
to
a
stir no
player,
trouble in the past the midnight hour.
I'm not
a
trying to
one,
stir up any trouble, but
as a player, think about it. Tyler gets 1,000-yard season. They drafted Bijan.
Zach, go.
You feel what I'm saying?
that is true.
They drafted Bijan.
That is true.
Let's be real about this. This is a business. Like we're not saying nothing rude to the players. If a player was listening right now, it's a fucking business. We know this. You know this. Arnold Ebiketie knows. Make it or break it. With 5 or more sacks, 10 or more sacks, you getting paid here. Or you getting paid elsewhere. It is what it is. But we got a guy that's here for the next 4 years. Matter of fact, we got 2 guys who's here for the next 4 years.
5.
So
Five.
bye.
Them options probably may get picked up, my guy.
But here's another thing that kind of defaults it. If Terry and them have a mediocre season, they don't get what they want. Terry moves on. New general manager comes in here. He's shifting house anyway. So time for players to leave up out of here. You never even know if Raheem is on the hot seat at that point. And do not let Michael Penix have a bad season because this fan base finna fucking erupt. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna get nasty,
bro. But you know what's crazy, Jack, is that you mentioned that. I never thought about that way. It's like Tyler Algier has 1,000-yard season. They draft Bijan. Also, Kirk Cousins get $100 million guaranteed.
bro. Now you know why you be calling me country. Like Jack is one of the most positive fans I've ever talked to. Now you know why? Because of shit like this. You better not hope these motherfuckers have a bad season, boy. Because it's not gonna be pretty out here. And don't forget, downtown is finna be totally different. This is New Atlanta. This is New Atlanta starting in the fall. Wait till you go downtown and see what's around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. For all you Falcon fans that haven't been down there, first time listening, they are developing probably one of the prettiest, beautiful cities in America you have ever seen. And it's going to be New Atlanta. And that Mitchell ATL across the street, that Hotel Phoenix across the street, that 3M Coliseum they're building, and all them stores that they're building up from the Gulch, man, ain't gonna be none but them big boys in there spending big money to see the Falcons. So you talking about being penciled out before for your $56 tickets because they're not winning. Boy, wait till you see them ticket prices when the downtown finished.
Exactly.
You ain't seen none yet.
Whenever you go in them stores where they have the bars inside the store.
Oh
my God. You got World Cup next year. That's already gonna hurt a lot of the pricing because everything in the stadium is gonna be it's like a golden ticket. So now tickets just because I'm in that industry. I know about that shit. It's like Falcon fans gotta be prepared. Now's the chance to get those season tickets and single game tickets and be prepared because look at our schedule. We ain't got no big games this year. The biggest game is really the Bills at the house.
Yeah.
The biggest game.
Yeah. But
the Commanders game is gonna be big.
The Commanders,
because who would have thought the Commanders game would have been a big game last year, right?
That's true. That's true. So. Jaden Daniels is giving us hope though.
Yes.
Because we need guys like Michael Penix to shine.
Mike Lahusky came in here and says, wow, T Will still going strong.
What up, Mike? What's up, Mike?
I came on here. I came on here whenever I started
the
show. I said, look, guys, like, I don't know why y'all thought y'all finna go to sleep. Ain't nobody sleeping tonight. Look here. I don't know why this is called emergency coaches meeting. I should have named it the slumber party because I'm excited about what went down tonight, and I'm legitimate. And the crazy thing is that I still got to work on a video that I got to put out tomorrow. So I took tomorrow.
Man, I still got to work.
Yeah, I took tomorrow off, man. That's why I'm over here. See, it's moonshine. It's moonshine.
I tell you what's gonna change. Jack got about 30 more minutes, and breakfast with one time for the fan is gonna turn into brunch. I promise you. Jack gonna hit us up. I'm gonna hit up Jack at 9:15. Jack, where are you?
So
Jack
I'm up. No, I'm up. I gotta be up at 7. But I was supposed to be playing golf around 12. I done fucked around and messed up the schedule, so now I gotta play golf after 5. But so I'm good. I'm good for the morning. This is real deal. That's why we up talking the country for real. This is the slumber party.
I
Man,
believe
we
it
out
when I
here,
see it, Jack. I believe it when I see it.
bro. We out here, bro, for
I'll
real.
be up at 9:30. I believe it when I see it.
Hey, look, for real, man. We up here talking about goddamn Falcons at 1:30 in the morning, man.
Oh,
Terry Fontenot better get in here and tell us who the next fucking pick is, man. We doing this shit for real.
Better stop playing
At
games.
this point,
For
at
real.
this point,
For real, bro.
Better
I'm
stop
telling you,
playing
man.
games. Terry probably watching us
Terry,
right
you are
now.
not the only person that is still up right now. We
Bro,
are
I'm
up
telling
to
you.
my brother.
I'm telling you, man,
Terry
because
probably
this
watching this right now. Terry, we will be there at training camp, front row, right behind the rope.
here's the cool thing about these podcasts. Somebody from the Falcons is up watching this podcast.
Oh yeah.
So I know it's 1:30. You're probably in your, oh yeah, we just got to the house and somebody's still live. They still talking Falcons. Yeah, we know how it is. Hey, this is what it's about, man. We out here trying to do what? Represent the fan base.
That's it,
Country,
man.
you also have a lot of fans from other teams in here that watch your podcast because you do great work, not only talking about the Falcons, but about the NFL in general. So all the other teams, hope y'all watching the Falcons, man, because we're coming for gold this year. We are really going for it this year. I'm telling you.
Bro.
I'm
Go for
telling you.
broke.
Go for broke. Because what's the rule tip?
Hey, oh, because the man with the dies first and owes the most wins.
There you go. Whoever
Shit.
dies owes the most wins.
Was that in The
So we
Last
ain't
of
worried
Us?
about that first pick next year.
Was that in The Last of Us? Shit.
No.
no,
That was in the low of us.
that was big.
Whoever
Oh yeah,
dies
that's Big
and
Low.
owes the
Big
most.
Yeah,
low.
the low.
That's a big low right there.
Yeah,
Oh man, that was funny. He said, well, "Whoever
the
owns
man who dies and owes the most wins. Yeah.
Exactly.
oh my
We ain't worried
god,
about the picks next year. That's 2026. Shoot,
Hey, man.
you see
I
how
mean,
things going? We just trying to make it to 2026. Whoever dies or hosts the most wins, bro.
if you get a team that wins the division and makes the division playoff or the NFC Championship, and we don't get our 28th or 29th pick next year, fans shouldn't be upset because we made the playoffs and do what we had to do. But don't let us get a top 10 pick because our team is bad and we don't have one. Oh, this finna be ugly.
It's gonna erupt.
It's
What you
finna be
talking about?
ugly. I see both sides of the fence, but I truly believe that this year, with so many things like hot seat type of moves, that they have to go for gold here. And T-Will, you mentioned it. They should be putting up 20 plus points on offense. And that defense, the way I'm looking at it right now, you got 3 guys right now I can tell you that can bring in over at least close to 15 to 20 sacks if they get it together. That's 3 guys. So hopefully the rest of the other guys fall in line, and the production of D'Angelo Malone that we saw last season, and not Leonard Floyd, Morgan Fox. I'm telling you, Morgan Fox is my sleeper. He's truly my sleeper this year, man. Like that guy can get after it, bro. Like Morgan Fox is a good pickup, really good pickup.
Man,
So I'm proud of the Falcons of getting a little bit more faster on the defensive line and still having that muscle too.
Like I said, and just like someone mentioned in the chat, the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year off of multiple pass rushers. Like we're literally adopting what the Eagles are doing, but the difference is that we can put 30 on your head like it's nothing.
And also, they just got the Jahad Campbell too as well, so they're adding to it.
They're adding to it.
Yeah,
they're adding to it.
Yeah,
but
look
also,
at the Giants.
Yeah, that
Look
was
at the
crazy
Giants.
when
The
they
Giants are
got
taking the
Jahad Campbell.
page. Look at the Giants though. They're taking the page out the book too. They got Brian Burns, Thibodeau, and they got Abdul Carter now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But one thing that a lot of people haven't realized is that this Atlanta Falcons team, they're going into year 2 with this offensive coordinator.
Yep.
And normally that second year, that's when it pops off. Normally that second year, whenever they run out onto the field, they hear that inner voice in their mind doing the TMX growl. Whenever they go
Oh,
onto the field
um,
with that
God.
second year
He's about
offensive
to,
coordinator,
he's about to do it.
how does it sound, T. Will? Let's hear it.
He's about to
Let's
do
hear
it.
it, T. Come on, T. Well, you can't do it like that now.
He's about
Wait
to
a
do it.
minute.
Look,
Hold on. There's like
that's
100.
the lean over and the.
Come on, T. Will. There's
oh,
a. Daddy.
Look at that bear. Look at that bear. That's Canadian goose right there.
I blame both of y'all because y'all influence this man. Y'all be influencing this man.
That's pure Canadian goose.
Oh,
So
man.
talk about
T-Will, I'm
Lord don't
telling you
set
right
him
now,
up.
do not go out in South Georgia in the woods and do that. That's a mating ground.
He's done for.
Did you say? What you say? It's turkey season country? They gonna be like, whoop, whoop, whoop,
Turkey season
what the fuck?
coming up.
He's gone. He's done for. They're coming
He's
with
gone.
nothing but rifles and tools because they don't know
He's
if they
gone.
need to fix a car or kill a bear.
He's gone.
Shouts out to Lisa Shepard. She's in here. She said she's hyped. She just can't sleep. She also said that sounded like a damaged engine.
You know what I'm saying?
Shepherd,
And my
Lisa
say, see, I ain't
Shepherd.
lying. See, Lisa gets it. See what I'm
Lisa
saying?
Shepherd,
Lisa
what
gets
up,
it.
Lisa?
She just gets it.
Man, well, look, fellas, man, I definitely enjoyed chopping it up with y'all tonight. I want to make sure that y'all get also, y'all could do breakfast with one time for the fans tomorrow.
Yes.
So, Tip, you want to let everybody know where they can find you, my brother?
Oh, hey, man. A1 Forever Sports. Hey, man. I'm just happy to be a Falcon fan right now. That's all I know. Hey, it was time to rise up. Great first round. Let's see what happens on day 2. I know we got a third round pick, and then we'll see what happens in the entire draft. But made some good moves tonight. Definitely feel like we won the first round. Been a minute since we could really say that. So also catch me on the Hawks Digest as well. You know what I'm saying? Hawks are going into an interesting off season. We'll see what they do. Also Twitter, A1 Forever, Instagram, A1 Forever. The real A1 Forever on TikTok. And like I said, of course, A1 Forever Sports, Hawks, Braves, Falcons, shoot just sports in general with my page. So come on by and have a conversation.
Definitely. T. Will, you want to let everybody know where they can find you, my friend?
Yes, sir. You can find me obviously with this guy over here, Mr. Jack Spade, on One Time for the Fan. You can also find me at the number 4, my ATL Sports, the number 1 on YouTube. And hey, man, according to Jack, we'll be up at 9:30 in the morning doing breakfast with One Time for the Fan. So hey, we'll see you tomorrow, man. Let's go.
No, today, T. Will.
You're right.
2
You're
o'clock.
right.
Yes.
My bad.
Yes.
Remember, Jack, it's today, Jack. It's today, Jack. Today.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
Sheesh.
Jack, you want to let everybody know where they can find you, my friend?
Yeah,
Jack.
1 second, man. Hold on. You need change, brother?
Jack,
All right,
please.
cool, man. All right. My bad, man. Shadur's over here dropping off my Uber Eats.
Oh,
order.
wow.
Yeah, man. I'll holler at you, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Tell your dad I said, what's up, man?
oh,
Daggone.
wow. This dude.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, don't walk on my grass, too.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
One Time for the Fan. Facebook, YouTube, social media everywhere. One Time for the Fan, man. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. We're out here just enjoying being a Falcon fan. Feels good to be a Georgia fan too as well. Go Dogs.
Yes. Go Dogs.
I've been waiting for this day for a long time, and now we got some players in the building early in the draft that I think can make an impact. And thank you all for being such great Falcon fans. We got to grow this fan base. We got to stick together. We got to show other fan bases that that we're proud to represent this team. Big shout out to A1 for everything you do. Big shout out to T Will too as well. TMX, former ATL Sports, and One Time. Big Low Country. Let me know if you golfing tomorrow. Big shout out to Big Low. And yeah, man, it's going down in a major way. So thank you all. Jack Spade, One Time for the Fan. YouTube, man, everywhere. Thank you.
There you go. Now look at here. I'm gonna tell y'all something. First of all, gentlemen, thank y'all so much for coming on and chopping it up with me. So over the years, since I've been doing Atlanta Falcons content, y'all always seen the happy-go-lucky Big Low Country. Y'all ain't never seen Coach Big Low Country. Y'all ain't never seen, the Big Low Country that, take a bite out of you. Today, I'm legitimately hyped up, Bo. And I don't know if y'all know how big of a deal this is. I don't know if y'all understand that y'all got two top-notch defensive players in the first round. Everything that we've been wanting, everything that we've been asking for, everything that we haven't been able to do, we're going to be able to do it now, Bo. Moving forward, the only issue is Terry done got the groceries. Raheem, you just got to be able to cook it. Now, at this point, the kind of groceries that you got, you could just throw it in the air fryer. You can just throw it in the air fryer. You don't got to make it from scratch. You ain't got to saute nothing. You ain't got to chop nothing up. Just throw it in the air fryer. Set it 10 minutes, fry at 400 degrees, and we ready to go. I'm getting tired of getting hit in the mouth. I'm ready to do some hitting for a change, Bo. I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be a new day. It's time to lock and load, Bo. I don't know about y'all, but I'm rising up. What in the world, Bo?